On that day, well, I had to go home. My kid was unwell. My 3-year-old son, Jack. He'd had an accident. And I was trying to answer the questions, but it wasn't just a case of yes or no. He had a temperature. He was in shock. He was just lying there with the sweat pouring out of him. It was in the play park. He was on the swings, just playing on the swings. But then he fell off and he landed so hard on his right hand that he almost lost it completely. It was so badly damaged. So, I am responsible for the injury that almost disfigured my child. I told my solicitor that story a couple of weeks back. Never for a minute thinking he was going to bring it up at the hearing. Never. He said it was to forestall my wife telling the story. I would never have mentioned it if I thought he could say it to me like that. But guess what? I've been thinking about a few things since my wife filed for divorce. She says she wants it to be amicable. Amicable? I don't see that happening. But she seems to want it stated that way. And then they give me this, the news that I did not want to hear today. The court orders and decrees that the petitioner be awarded custody, effective immediately, and that the respondent pay for the support of the child at £800 a month. The respondent, namely the father, shall have the following visitation rights. Every other weekend, Saturday 1100 hours to Sunday 1500 hours, and one night every second month to be mutually agreed upon at the father's permanent residence should satisfactory bedroom facilities be acceptable upon approval by the social work department. It's what I've been dreading. So, what? I just have to be on my own now. Don't understand. See, the trouble is, my wife and I both wanted Jack to live with us, but the court has agreed with his mother. So, that's the way it's going to be from now on. And I get to take him every second Saturday to McDonald's for lunch, where we get to spend more time with all the other sad, desperate dads and their offspring. Where's my wee boy going to sleep? Eh? Where's his bedroom going to be? With Mummy. Eh? Mummy's got all this worked out. Where will all his toys be? At Mummy's. Where she lives in her new high-rise executive apartment in the Merchant City. Oh, with her new boyfriend, Michael Greengrass. What kind of name is that? So that's where all these toys will be. Oh, and if he plays his cards right, maybe Mummy will buy him a whole load of new toys. They're all going to be great. Really. What if Jack doesn't like it? Can he come home? Oh no. Jack will have a great time, apparently, with Mummy and Michael Greengrass. I was thinking about him this morning, waking up in a new, unfamiliar bedroom. None of these wee toys run about him. Baby Shark, Mowgli, Dumbo. Oh, none of these Mr. Men books. He loves the books. The wee stars are painted all in his bedroom. They're all gone. I came here hoping to take my son home with me, but now they're telling me that that won't be happening.
Almost. What an awful word that is. You almost made the team. You almost got an A. You almost have enough points to go on your holidays. So near, but yet so far. I am a nurse. I know life and death are not exact in some ways, but I can still hate that word. Almost. Almost healed. Almost ready to go home. Almost dead. You see, he came in with a police escort. Now, at the accident and emergency ward where I've worked for more years than I care to remember, this is not unusual. Saturday nights, well, it's like a circus in here. Stabbings, assaults, domestic violence, and those are the easy ones. We all get war zone pay for this work. They call it something else like bonus hours for the weekend, but everyone knows what it really means. But for armed police to come with an ambulance on a Tuesday morning at 10 a.m. with detectives, well, that's different. This was a big case. And since I'm the charge nurse, the one in charge, I get to do the admission and assessment. He was almost dead. We worked on him, but he had 5 bullets in his chest and another in the head, which was self-inflicted. It was amazing he was still alive at all. Then we found out what he had done. This is not always a good idea. I don't care what the Hippocratic Oath says. It is hard to divorce yourself from knowing that someone you are trying to save has killed 15 people. 4 adults and 11 children that they know of. And right now, well, it could be more. Of course, maybe he's not the actual culprit. It's possible. Of course, my friend, one of the police officers, told me when they came to get him, he had confessed. He asked them, as he was leaving his family, if they wouldn't handcuff him until he was outside, and they agreed. As soon as he was outside, he grabbed one of the guns from the armed policeman next to him. The others shot him, and he blew almost his own brains out. So here he is, on hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of equipment to keep him alive, and he might just survive. I don't go to church, but I honestly believe God brought this man to me at this time for a reason. As a nurse, I made a promise to save lives and not administer harmful drugs, but what is harm? To keep alive a murderer who will harm others. Is that right? And if he's a vegetable, who gets to feed and water him? You and I. At least our income tax does. How much will that cost all of us? Will an equal amount be given to the victims of this man to help them? The answer is, of course, no. There are a lot of things a nurse can do to make your life happy when you're in the hospital. Freshen up your bed, help you get to the bathroom, maybe even save your life. But there are other things they can avoid doing, or do poorly, that can make the difference between getting out quickly or not getting out. It doesn't take much to figure out what I did. Almost. I almost kept that wound of his clean. Is it my fault if there are some drug-resistant bacteria in hospitals? And I almost administered the right drug to kill the bacteria. I knew there would be an inquest and an autopsy, so I just waited. Timing is everything sometimes. Does that make me a killer? Would God have given me a chance like this because he wanted this individual to live? I've thought about it. I have more rounds, so I have to go. People need me. I am sure I was right doing what I did. Well, almost.
I'm 16. I'm trembling. I'm always trembling. Trembling is like a dead body after it's been shot. I'm dead inside. They'll come back soon, so I've I've got to speak quickly. I was sold 2 years ago. I can't get out. I'm an animal. I'm owned by them. They do whatever they want. I was nice once. I've got long legs. But there's burns. I'm an ashtray. Just a dustbin. Sometimes they refuse to wear condoms. And if we refuse them, then we're beaten. I can't even look at my back. I know there are gashes there. I really hate my hair. I was 12. My father, he was always drunk, always angry. And his friend, his best friend, who was 40, started raping me whenever he saw me. He threatened to tell my dad if I told anyone. He threatened to ruin me. So for 2 years I did whatever he wanted. He gave me syphilis. That's herpes on my mouth. I just really hate my hair. What? They're not coming in, you sure? They don't know? Okay. Okay? We got caught. My dad's friend. Someone walked in when he was raping me against a wall. He told my dad that I'd put him up to it. My dad actually believed him. My father beat me with a wooden piece of furniture and threw me out. I couldn't walk for weeks. I was on the run. My father had abandoned me and my mother, well, she was with him so she couldn't exactly speak out. I had no place to go. I was on the streets and this man, he took me in. And my brother, my only friend, he turned his back on me too. Then that guy started beating me and I had no place to go, nowhere to turn. I went to the police. I told them that they didn't believe me. They just chased me out for wasting their time. I ended up at a train station. There was this young guy with blonde hair. He told me about a job. He brought me in. He sold me to them. I can't leave. They said if I try to leave, they'll kill my family. I still love them. They tied me to a bed for 7 hours, handcuffed my hands, made me naked. And then 6 of them, they... Oh! Oh! I'm a bucket! I'm a receptacle! I've been sick and there's no time! I don't even know why I was born. I don't feel anything. I don't feel pleasure. I'm just vulgar. I'm just flesh. See if someone could come and look inside my heart. They'd see that there's nothing there. This is not a choice. If you need help, you go to your mother or your brother or your boyfriend or your father or the police. I'm 16. I'm an animal. I'm a receptacle. I'm property. I'm nothing. I'm trembling. I walk the streets of London. I roam the back alleys of Belgrade. I'm taken from the killing fields. I was born in Tel Aviv, Kosovo, Chicago. I'm Mexican, I'm Russian, I'm Welsh. I'm sold all over the world. I'm 16. I'm going to be extinct. Soon there'll be nothing left of me. Rhino, elephant. Ghetto.
It was bedlam in the classroom as the teacher walked right in. And the scumbags all ignored him. And what he said just vanished in the din. Today we'll deal with violence. Your homework will be set, for I will teach you all a lesson that no one will forget. He saw a fat boy shouting, so he clobbered him then and there, and he strangled the girl behind him, the one with the ginger hair. With chip in hand, he hacked his way right down the bellowing rows. First come, first severed, he roared out. Your neck, your arm, your toes. He threw a blade at a late arrival, and it hit with a deadly aim. Then he whipped out a loaded shotgun, and he moved on with the perilous game. The first shots cleared the back row, where all the skivers do hang out, and he sank like soap in a bath down there when the plug has been pulled out. Oh, please, better leave the room, sir, a trembling, crying pleb inquired. Of course you may, said the teacher, as he put the gun to his head and fired. Headmaster looked in, around the door, to see why this racket was made. And he nodded understandingly as he tossed in a grenade. Finally, all the weapons down and blood on every chair, one tiny soul shuffled forward with his hands up in the air. The teacher checked the carnage. All the dying and the dead. And he waggled his finger severely. Now let that be a lesson, he said.
Robert,
You shouldn't be in here.
why not?
It's bad luck seeing each other the day before, the night before, something like that.
Oh God, what if your dad gets out of his ukulele?
He won't.
He will. He will get all Irish.
Well,
What if Matt gets too drunk?
he won't.
He might. He might get naked. When he drinks, he does that.
Yes, he might get drunk. That might happen.
What if you hate my hair? I'm trying something different.
I won't. I'll love it.
You might not. My new style might not work at all. Might make me look like a prison warden.
Oh, Natalie, please. It's such a big day tomorrow.
Robert, I'm worried because I haven't told you everything.
It's okay. We've got the rest of our lives now. Shush.
But I've kept a secret from you. Something that happened in France. A bad thing. A bad sex thing.
For Christ's sakes, Natalie, what are you on about? Are you winding me up?
No, not at all.
Why are you laughing then?
I don't know. I'm nervous. It's a nervous laughter, not proper laughter. But I need to tell you about something.
What the hell? Why now? Why are you doing this, Natalie, now?
Because I can't go to church tomorrow with secrets from you. I just can't, Robert. Sorry.
Okay, go on then. What? What do you need to tell me?
When I was in France studying in that...
Year abroad.
Yeah, well, I was seeing this guy older than me.
Right, and?
He was crazy, sexually, like, you know, extra horny.
Okay.
I think his libido was off the scale.
I can't believe you're doing this, Natalie.
And we did it all the time, everywhere. A boat, a delicatessen, a cattery.
A cattery?
Yeah, it's like a hotel. You can put your cat in.
I
and
know what a cattery is, Nat.
Oh, sorry. So yeah, one night we were at his place and his friend came over. We played a game. We were drinking and being stupid and... Oh God, Robert. Oh, it's bad.
It's okay. What happened?
We played this thing. A bit like street poker. I can't really remember. The rules were weird. I kept losing. And this guy, the one I was seeing, he asked me to kiss his friend.
Right.
So I did. I told you he was...
Yeah, he was what?
So I kissed his friend. And I guess that turned him on.
Right.
Yeah, he worked for a building firm or something.
Okay.
And we took our clothes off because of the game. All of us sort of lost. And we kind of, you know, did it.
So you had a threesome?
Yeah, yes. But it went on quite a while, a whole weekend in fact. And a bit of Monday morning into the afternoon until they both had to go to work. What are you thinking?
I'm so sorry. Shit, I'm sorry. Oh, God. What have you just done?
Now you hate me.
I don't. I love you. I'm marrying you.
Really? Still? Even after that?
Yes.
Thank you.
Were you careful?
Yes.
Did you have a nice time?
I don't wanna...
You can tell me, be honest. Was it a pleasurable experience?
Well, I mean, yeah, it was.
Well then, I guess that's all that matters. You were safe and, it was a positive thing.
God, you're amazing. God, I love you. Please let me hug you.
I love you too. Now, please, go to sleep.
Is there anything you want to tell me? Do you have any dirty secrets? Anything you're really, really ashamed of? Robert?
No.
Okay.
Why?
I don't know, it's cathartic. I feel better now that I've told you.
Good.
So there's nothing shady you've done you want to share with me? In all those many, many years of your life? Nothing that haunts you, that you regret, that...
She's putting you up to this. Your sister. She said something, hasn't she?
Zoe! No, why would she?
I don't want to talk about it.
Too late, mate. You're getting married in the morning. Well, tomorrow anyway, so you need to spill those beans.
I had an issue with my ex-girlfriend.
Right.
She made life very difficult for me.
Herpes.
No.
Oh my God, you have a kid.
No, Natalie, I don't.
Carry on.
I feel really uncomfortable doing this.
Well, don't. You shouldn't.
I prefer to tell you another time.
Why?
So I can explain properly.
Explain now. What, Robert? What the hell happened? Come on. Just say it. It's fine. Just say it.
She said I raped her.
What?
She said I pinned her down, forced her against her will, and raped her. After a night out, I knew she was crazy. Everyone warned me about when I started seeing her. Her nickname was Psycho Sheila, for God's sakes. It was at my old flat. Yeah, it was rough. It really was. But she made no indication whatsoever she wasn't enjoying it. She instigated it, if anything. I thought she was just crazy, She liked really rough stuff, or she told me, so she made me grab her neck and stuff and roleplay. Really full-on aggressive sex. And a week later, well, she'd gone to the police and said I'd raped her. There were bruises. I don't know. I was taken in for an interview.
Interview?
It was really intense. Eventually, though, after quite a long time, everything was dropped. Charges were dropped. But the thing is, it went around the uni and she made life really hard, almost impossible. People believed her. No smoke without fire and all that shit, I was on antidepressants. I lost weight. It was shocking. Terrible. I don't even like to think about it now.
Oh my God.
Told you.
Oh my God.
Natalie.
That is just... I can't believe that.
I know, it's crazy. It is ridiculous.
I mean, that's big. That's a big thing to happen to someone.
Yeah. Natalie? Natalie, you okay?
I can't breathe.
Natalie, please don't get upset. Not tonight, please.
You should have told me. You should have told me something like that. Why haven't you mentioned this before?
When? When exactly? I can just casually mention during Strictly Come Dancing, oh, by the way, I was arrested for being a rapist.
I feel sick. I feel totally sick.
Natalie, I promise you, she was not a well person and she developed some sort of fatal attraction, infatuation, bollocks to keep me in her life after I packed her in. She was too intense for me. Look, she lied and, well, anyway, finally, I've moved on now.
So you say?
Yes, what?
But how could someone do that? It's just so terrible thing to just make up.
It's in the past, it's over.
I'd better go back to my room.
No, really?
Yes, I'm going to go. Good night. No. Wait. Why the hell didn't you say anything before? How could you not mention it?
What?
You didn't think to let me know or warn me or something?
Are you kidding?
You didn't think you should bring it up and let me know? So that I was going to be all dressed up for my own fucking wedding, all that while not really knowing who the man about to be my husband actually is? Did you, oh my god, did you ever?
What the hell is wrong with you?
So, let me get this straight. She was insane, right? Some insane girl with a mental problem. Who says? A psychoanalyst? Or was the analysis of her condition based on your own professional experience?
What?
Or just, how would you like to play out?
What are you trying to say, Nat?
See, the thing is, I like rough sex. I do. So where does that leave me with you?
You mustn't think that way. Look, please, Natalie, you can't worry. I'm going to look after you. I'm going to take care of you. I'd rather die than let anything happen to you. You've got to...
Shh. Let me say this. My mother has never really liked you, Robert. Too sweet to be wholesome. That was her description. So it ends here. For well, I might be a bit of a slut, but you... Well, I'll leave the last word open.
In the beginning, he was lovely, smart, funny. We enjoyed each other's company. We were happy. When we met, it meant we could be together all the time, and I couldn't imagine a better way to spend my days. And then he started screwing someone else. A younger model. Have you any idea what that does to a woman? To find out you're not his preferred option anymore? To learn that someone else is? Well, I didn't. I didn't know what it does to a woman. I didn't know how I was supposed to feel, how I was meant to react. I mean, should I go round there and smash her face in? And tell her husband what a filthy, betraying cow his wife is? Or maybe I should try to explain in once upon a time language to her 5-year-old daughter that her mummy is a... No, of course not. And he told me he loved her, that she was amazing in bed, that he wanted to be with her, always. And it's so strange how your life just flips, changes direction completely, irrevocably, overnight. Less than that, in a matter of seconds, in the space of one sentence, a very short sentence, and not even the one that tells you what's going on, because all you need is the preamble, the plant, the lead-in, the I've got something to tell you bit, and then you know. Of course you know. Because it's what they always say, isn't it? In books, in films, on the TV. It's all in that line. So I hardly heard the pained explanation that he'd hoped I'd understand, how he'd hardly even been aware that he was falling in love, that it had crept up on him slowly, that he was besotted, smitten, love-struck, head over heels, etc., etc., etc. And I thought I was fine. I got on with my work. I smiled. I was pleasant and courteous to the slut he was banging. I'll call her Daphne. because she was called Daphne. See, that was her name, and worst of all, she was my boss. So I had the dubious privilege of seeing her every day. But I thought I could deal with it. I felt fine. You know how when something happens and absolutely everybody knows about it, and you don't really know how it is that everybody knows about it. They just know, and they give you this look, this pitying look, like they're thinking, oh, poor soul. And you just want to say, hey, just fuck off, will you? And then, of course, they start whispering behind your back. And when you go into a room, it all goes quiet, like you've just walked into a country pub at night, off season, and everyone pretends they're not looking at you. That horrific, awkward atmosphere. And after a while, you realise that nobody is speaking to you. Won't even say good morning. Oh. So I'm at work and nobody's talking to me. I'm drinking a lot of coffee. And him, Kenneth, he keeps saying stupid things like, I'm not leaving this house, but you can if you want to. Or, you've brought this on yourself. Thanks, pet. I'm starting to feel like a bloody leper or something. And it gets to the point where I can't do my work. And then, suddenly, there he was. This man, black and beautiful, so beautiful. He was called, well, his real name sounds so ordinary and boring, and he wasn't at all. So I'll call him Todd. He was on his Todd when we met at work. He was new, just started, didn't know anyone. Didn't know no one else was talking to me. Didn't know my husband was banging the boss. Didn't know I was already on the downward spiral. We started hanging out and having a few drinks and so on. He was into poetry, so one night we went to this Caribbean club to hear this old black guy recite his poems about oppression, racism, and life in the old country. And it was great. I felt a part of something. I was excited, enthused, and horny. Then we go back to his, and of course we end up in bed. And it's fantastic. He's so loving and affectionate and sensual. And best of all, he's actually interested in me. I feel like somebody cares, and I'm important, and I write something for him. And he totally melts like it's the greatest love poem ever written. Naturally, of course, he's got a girlfriend. Turns out she's away on a course. And then she comes back a couple of weeks later, during which time we've been shagging like there's no tomorrow. And then it all turns to shit. Kenneth and Daphne find out what's been going on. Todd suddenly finds himself rather conveniently at the end of his short contract and is unceremoniously given the push. And Kenneth's like, what do you think you're doing? And how do you think I feel? And all this other bollocks. And the whole thing just gets too much. And I just crumbled, hit him on the head quite hard with a hammer.
It was back in 1977. My father had been taken into custody on suspicion of murder. He was a carpet delivery driver, and he'd found the body of a 70-year-old woman at the side of the road, and the police wrongly thought he might have killed her. Well, obviously, this was a traumatic time for me and my family. I was sent to my nan's, and she tried her best to keep me away from the news, but I was still upset and confused. So I went to a nearby park in Leeds and sat on a swing. And then this smart black car pulled up. A creepy-looking man got out, and he came over and asked me if I was okay. He walked with me into the woods behind the park. And once he got me in there, he lifted up my shirt, pulled off my trousers and pants, and rubbed some greasy stuff against my bum. And then I felt pain, like the worst kind of constipation in reverse, if you know what I mean. That's the only way I can describe it. I was 9. The man disappeared really quickly, and I lay there on the grass and twigs, not sure what had happened, but I was in total agony. I could barely walk in a straight line, and my head was pounding. Shortly after I left the woods, I thought to myself, if you don't say anything, it never happened. If you just don't tell anyone, it didn't happen. And I never did tell anyone. I went back to my nan's house. I remember the next night, a Thursday it was, my nan put on the telly for me, and it was Top of the Pops. The man who had raped me appeared on the screen. I had a panic attack, and I ran to my room and hid under the bedclothes. It was Jimmy Savile. When I returned to my parents following my dad's release, I regressed for a while. I can still remember this feeling of abomination. I started wetting the bed. All the classic signs were there, but everyone thought it was because my dad had been suspected of murder. I somehow squashed the whole traumatic, terrible incident down into something hard and dark and tiny, and deliberately buried it as deep as I could inside. And in fact, I actually forgot about it. I forgot about it so completely that when I accidentally saw a photo of Savile in the Daily Mirror soon after, all I knew was that I was really frightened of him. It was like every ounce of me knew, but I didn't remember it, so I must have blocked it. Yeah, I managed to block what I call the incident, but it affected everything in my life. You can feel that sense of panic, but not understand it or why it affects you on a daily basis. My life changed. When I was around 11, I joined an older gang so that I would have a bit of protection without really knowing why. I went a bit nuts in my teens, did drugs, started petty thieving. And as an adult, again, without knowing why, I always cut corners when walking the dog if it took me out too close to any woods. I went through my whole life not directly recalling the event, not really understanding what had happened to me. But every so often I'd have these massive depressions or anxiety attacks, really bad, dragging me into the pits of hell. It felt like the Book of Revelations. The attacks would last a few minutes, and sometimes I'd have to go to a clinic. In my 30s I tried counselling, but that didn't really help. It wasn't until 2 years ago that I went to see a clinical psychologist that something really changed. She asked me lots of technical questions and found that my problem areas were extreme anxiety around going away from home and feeling that the world was a bad place. She diagnosed me with PTSD and prescribed a particular treatment. I promised my wife I wouldn't speak about this, but I need to, because now I can remember most of what happened. Not everything, it's like a shattered mirror. I have fairly horrific images, but I can't make whole sequences. But the point of my treatment is not to recall every detail of the traumatic incident, but to access the feelings around it. You stop every 3 minutes or so to assess how high your stress levels have become. At the beginning, I was off the scale. I would cry uncontrollably, snot and saliva everywhere. In fact, the process was so difficult that I quit a couple of times, but gradually, as I repeated the therapy, my stress levels reduced. I'm not cheerful about it now, but I own it now. Most of what happened has come back to me. Savile was a right fucking grubby bastard with piggy eyes and hateful stained and broken teeth like fangs and body odour like a drain. For a while during the therapy I was overcome by a desire for revenge. I wanted to meet up with Savile, sit man to man without any weapons and see what kind of person he was. But then I thought, well, this isn't going to happen, and he's probably still a disgusting, horrible, manipulative, paedophile sort of character, and he'd smirk at me over the table. Then it's going to go incredibly badly as I'd seriously rearrange his fucking features with my bare hands. You know, there were a couple of children's homes near where I grew up, and as a child I was very conscious of the kids who ran away. Once you've seen someone get assaulted, you don't forget. That never leaves you. I remember looking through the railings of a nearby children's home. All the lads looked like something out of Auschwitz, and there were glue scabs all round the girls' mouths. Those places were centres of abuse, physical, emotional, sexual. I'll think about that. I was so affected, and the abuse only happened to me once. I've had at least 3 breakdowns as a result. It's caused me a lifetime of anguish. So imagine what it was like there, all that brutality, and you can't escape. Imagine being in one of those places where someone like Savile or Cyril Smith was able to come into your home whenever they liked.
I know. I've been crying, and it's been such a wretch. I'm sitting here sobbing on a hard wooden bench. In the pregnancy clinic, where there's a real stench. The atmosphere, it's neutral and bland, and the walls are boring grey and sand, with lights so bright they could burn my hands. My phone is buzzing in my pocket. My mum has texted me, and I just want to lock it. Do I have the keys to the door? She's locked it, and when will I be home? But I just can't tell her where I've gone. I have a problem, and I'm best just alone. I was raped by a man that I knew, because he works in my work, and that's where it's true. He held me down with my bag beside me, and he covered my mouth, and he came inside me, so now I'm in here, and I try hard to rest as I wait for results from my medical test. I just hope it won't be a termination, because I just can't afford it. And my parents would shockingly end our relation. We'd recently moved here, and the stairwell behind us will haunt me till the day that I die. And I'm too young to know why it aches in my thighs, but I know I must lie. I must lie. I must lie. My mate Pam has been dating a guy, and she sleeps in his bed. And he's older than her, and he buys her everything. At least that's what she said. And they've been fighting a lot. Almost 10 times a week. And he wants to have sex, but she just wants to sleep. She says she can't say no to him. That this much she owes to him. He buys her dinner, so she has to blow him. And he's taken to forcing her down on her knees, and she's confused because he's hurting her while he says please, because he is a man. These things he just needs, and he's her boyfriend, so why is she filled with unease? I've had to grow up. But I'm still way too young. And I know that for us there is work to be done. Out there is still a big war to be won.
I wrote a book. I couldn't think of an ending. Nothing seemed to fit. Writing's a lonely business. Stories about an author who gets tired of all the guff that's been written. Soppy books with predictable endings. I'm so sick of all the bullshit being jammed into our heads. He decides to write the greatest novel of all time. A book about the theatre of war. About you and me. About a war fought over ideas, fought over words. People losing their lives over ideas, losing their lives over words. The war, the pointlessness of war. It consumes all the love, and the people just cry when they realise it's too late. They've fought and they have killed, and there's nothing left. Ultimately, what's lost is the greatest gift of all, our own human life. It's certainly not about forgiveness. It's about condemning. You know, I thought I was a brave, but trusting man, fighting in a war I didn't understand, but I'm not brave. I'm just another sheep. Silly man who liked to play at soldiers. Just another uniformed, delusional moron. I'm somebody who thought if I carried a rifle, it would add 4 inches to my underperforming, flaccid dick. Politicians in suits, so full of futile, pathetic bullshit, sending us over to fight a pointless war. Something based on lies, deception. He said we had to go. We had to go there. It was raining that day. I can remember that rain. I can remember the little lad in that hut with the old lady. He came out walking in the rain. I can still taste that rain. It was sulphur. Sulphur tasting rain. How the hell do you get sulphur tasting rain? That rain had no soul. It was empty. It was faceless and empty. It went right through you. I remember being so cold. I couldn't get warm. Oh, that gear weighing me down. I just couldn't get warm. Rain shouldn't be cold. Rain should give birth. Rain should give life. I was afraid of that rain. That soulless rain. It held me and it wouldn't let go. The little boy, he had a grenade. He had a hand grenade. There. Right there. Can I sing it? Pointing it to me. To me! It was coming right for me. Can you imagine a 5-year-old carrying a grenade? Who in their right mind gives a 5-year-old something that can kill a man? I mean, a grenade, a hand bomb. What kind of shit is that? I remember thinking, where the hell did he get it? fucked up it was. I remember how he came out of that hut, slowly, tentatively, moving ever so closer, and clutching it right there in his little hand. It was a blur. It was all a blur. Strange, an odd greyness in the atmosphere. Dust, metal, sand, low white and grey skies, doomy, murky, misty, and rain thrashing like needles. Hot wet needles thrashing onto me, onto my face. Rat-tat-tat in my headgear! Zig-zagging! Like sharp wet darts from my rifle. He reached over with his other hand, as if he was going for the safety pin. He didn't give me time to react. It was a choice. Was I given a choice? And it looked like a grenade. For Christ's sake. I weren't trained for that. I weren't trained for kids with grenades. How do you train for that? Sure, he'd pull it. And it would be fucking BOOM! But it wasn't. I was sweating like a racehorse. My heart was racing. My pulse was throbbing like crazy. I mean, I had to, see? I had to pull my trigger. I mean, it looked like a grenade. That relentless rain. You couldn't see a thing. It blinded you. That rain. It's baptismal. And yet it blinds you. It opens your eyes and then it seals them shut. It forces you to live the rest of your life behind the lids of your eyes. It opens them, shows you the light, and then it sentences you to a life of darkness. Thought he looked like trouble. He's the look of a wild dog. Kid should have stayed in his hut. Where the hell did he come out of his hut? Who in their right mind comes out of a hut in the rain? What was his mother thinking? Send him out now? That's soulless rain. Little boy. Only a little boy. Baby shouldn't be out wandering about in the rain. She'd be home with her mothers. She'd be in their beds. War is a wild, crazy, deranged place. I asked him, I told him to get back, not to come any closer. Put that thing in his hand down on the ground and back off! Drop it! Get back inside! I was glad to know he didn't speak English. I've never talked to anyone who didn't speak English before. He told me later he was pulling the stem off the top of an apple. Tell me that's not fucked up. I haven't had a decent night's sleep since, because I couldn't tell the difference between a piece of fruit and a grenade, between a gift and... It's ironic, don't you see? Don't you see that? I joined the army to learn about self-respect, and I fucking hate myself. I shot a little boy. When the dust cleared, the smoke, there were just pieces of the little body lying scattered around in the dust. His right leg was missing above the knee. His head was in 6 pieces. No arms to speak of. And the blood was squirting out of his neck, and it's hitting the ground, and it's hot. Steam rising up from it. Watching his remains turn into the same colour as the ground he was lying on. I had a relapse. They took all my clothes, underwear, socks, threw me a blanket, chucked me in a mental health cell with loonies who'd scream all night. Then I was thrown into a forced detox box. They cut me off from all my medication. Cold turkey. Worse than any hell you can imagine. 12 days of pure agony. The body tremors. Watching my skin crawl. Then the shadow people started showing up. The seizures. It's like you're sitting there, someone's just tasered you again, again, again. I jerked my arm and shit out. I told myself. Banging my arms against the wall. I'm going to hell, I am. That's where God's going to put me. He's going to put me in hell. I've got a special place down there for guys like me.